Using expired domains can give your affiliate project a real head start. And although there are quite a few different uses for expired domains, the process I use for finding them stays pretty much the same regardless. If avoiding the Google sandbox and ranking more quickly and therefore making money more quickly sounds appealing, then this video is definitely for you, as I'm going to show you how to find these expired domains without having to pay expensive broker fees. Hey there affiliate schoolers, and welcome to the channel if you're brand new. If you are new to us, please consider subscribing. We pretty much talk about affiliate and SEO here, and you're very, very welcome. So let's first of all talk about what actually is an expired domain. So an expired domain is pretty much a website that has existed in a former life, if you like. In other words, it at some point was a website in its own right, but the owner of that domain has allowed it to expire. Now, what tends to happen at this point is it goes into an auction, particularly if it's registered with GoDaddy, but other registrars also run auctions, and this is a point at which you can pick up that domain. So at this point, this is what I would class as an expired domain. However, if it does not get picked up at auction, then it becomes what's classed as a dropped domain. And there's a bit of a difference here between the two. A dropped domain, we can just go in and we can register. Sometimes you'll still get it through the registrar that previously had it. Usually that's the case if they think there's a bit of value in there to be had. Otherwise, it goes back into the open and anyone can register it. Now, the issue with a dropped domain is that in the eyes of Google, and Google have come out and very clearly said this, it loses all its power and all its relevance. The backlinks that it had in the past, at least Google say, do not hold the same weight as they once did. However, if you can pick up that domain at auction before it drops, then that power, that relevance, those backlinks are still there, they still carry weight, and that's where you can get a real advantage when you're starting a new affiliate project or any kind of website really that you're looking to rank. Now, there are a few uses for expired domains. The main ones are that you can use it, like I've already mentioned, as a new website in its own right. So you might choose to use it for your new affiliate website. The other option is that you can use it as a 301 redirect, and essentially what you're then doing is passing that power from that site onto another website. So if you've already got an affiliate website, you might want to look for an expired domain to add more power to your existing site. And the other option is to create what's called in the SEO industry as a PBN, a private blog network. And essentially the reason most people set these up are to then create links from that website to other websites to pass the power on that way. But be careful with that third option. It's clear, it's very, very much against Google's terms of service, and I'm not advising you to use it for those purposes. If you do, it's on you. So most people are going to use an expired domain to set up a new site or to redirect. So we're going to focus on that in this video today. And the key thing that you want to look for when you are searching for these expired domains is relevance. So is it relevant to the niche that you are setting it up for? Or is it relevant to your existing website, to the niche of your existing website? If it's not, then it's got very little value to you. So you don't want to look at that. You want to move on and look for another. So I'm going to show you now the process of finding these expired domains, and it's not as difficult as you might think. But one of the hardest things is to actually value and understand the true value of a domain. So make sure you watch through right to the end of the video, because I'm going to be showing you and explaining a really simple way of how to value a domain right at the end of this. Right, let's jump over to the computer. So we have two main options when it comes to finding these expired domains, or at least these are the ones that I use. They're both paid tools, but they both work really well. So the first one is spamzilla.io and the second one is Register Compass. I've used both. I tend to use spamzilla.io now. It's a little bit cheaper And I find actually that it works better than Register Compass because, and I'll show you why that is in a moment, but essentially it's because it helps you to weed out some of the more spammy websites. So it just saves you a bit of time. So it's actually got quite a really easy to use interface, and it allows you to use data from Ahrefs, Moz, Majestic, all the big ones really, and you can filter and look for exactly what you want. So if I load my standard filter here, and actually you can see how long I've been using this. I've been using it for a couple of years. So if I load this in, and what I tend to look for, I keep it pretty simple to be honest. So we need to set, first of all we need to set a date for when the auctions are ending for these domains. So today's date is the 9th of December, so I'll start from the 9th, and I usually go about a week or 10 days ahead. So for this, let's go about 10 days ahead. And what I'm pretty much looking for is expired domains, so I can tick expired domains here. Now I can look for whichever TLD I want, so I can choose co.uk, .com, .biz, .org. I'm going to leave all of these open for now. In fact, I'm going to take off the .biz, I'm going to take off the .info, so I'm not interested in those really. I generally start from a DA of 4. I don't tend to worry about DR typically, although you could argue that you know ideally you'd want a DR of at least 9 or 10, particularly if you're using it as a standalone site. But I tend to look for these for a variety of different reasons. So my DA here is 4, and we can then apply that filter, and it's going to find all the domains. Now what I tend to do, in fact sorry, I'm going to go back there, and this is the big difference with Spamzilla, is they have this SZ score, which is the Spamzilla score, and the higher the score the worse it is. And what that means is the higher the score, the more chance that they've identified spam. So I tend to put this at about 19 or 20, so 0 to 19 or 20, and then apply that. So what that's going to do, it's going to take out any domains that they see as being, you know, maybe not ideal. And then what I'll tend to do is I'll filter by DR. So I can filter by DR here, and you can see the highest DR site that it's picked up is a DR 68, which is pretty impressive, catalystframework.org. And what's really good about this is it gives you the Majestic topical trust flow. So you can instantly see what the website is relevant to. Now, the likelihood is you're not going to do a search that's open-ended like that. And let's say we go back to our filters and we just want to search for sites that are to do with, let's go home, something to do with family or babies and that sort of thing. So let's go family, and let's apply that filter. Now we can see that the highest DR that we've got is a DR 18. So we're obviously not as powerful, but we're getting a lot more relevant. So the topical trust flow of this is home and family and society. So that's oxfordadoption.com. The Spamzilla score is pretty low. So if we wanted to go in and look at this, we can see that there's one page indexed. We can see the price currently sitting at $12, which is pretty reasonable. So let's go in and take a look. Now you will need a GoDaddy auction account. It's about $3 for a year, so it's nothing too concerning. Now they give us an estimated value based on the name of the domain, pretty much is what they base that on. So it's saying almost £800. So, you know, around about $1,000, which is, you know, pretty decent. This has obviously only just come on because there's still almost 9 days to go, but there's no bids on it yet. So what we're then going to do is we're going to put it into Ahrefs and take a look at the history of the website, the backlinks, the search history. So first off, I want to see if it's ever had organic search. We can see it's got a decent backlink profile, but if we click on this tab here, the organic search, we can see that it's had a dribble. It's had a little bit. It's not had a huge amount. So there's nothing, it's not the most exciting domain to me here. Now you will see probably that it's dropped. Now that looks like then that domain hasn't really been used for about a year. But what we'll also want to do is look at the backlinks. look at the types of links that we've got. So it's clearly to do with adoption. So if you were creating a website around adoption, this would actually probably be a pretty decent domain to go for, because we've got backlinks here from angeladoptioninc.com, adoptionchoices.org, adoptionchoicesoftexas.org. That's a slight concern. Credible.com, because that's to do, oh no, adoption loans, sorry. So that works, adoption loans. Loads of adoption stuff. So if you were doing a website, anything to do with adoption, this would be perfect. This would be absolutely perfect. You've got really good domain traffic. This is the other thing we're interested in. So when we're looking at the backlinks of a website, we're really looking for links that are relevant, and these are completely relevant to adoption, and links that have got power. If they then, sorry, links that have got traffic. If they then are powerful as well, so this one's a DR73, DR30, DR32, DR49 from My Adoption Advisor, ConsideringAdoption.com 42. These are really good links, really good links. And then the final check that we would do is we would go in and take a look at the Wayback Machine. So you can just Google Wayback Machine, or you can go to web.archive.org, and we can look at the last screenshots that they grabbed. So this was March the 7th. Now this might be a park domain or something. I know this is actual, this was the site. So we can take a look. There's not very much on there, but there's nothing really on there that's particularly concerning to me. It clearly was, you know, an adoption foundation. We can go into the various pages. And sometimes you'll even find decent content on these pages, and it might be the case that you want to use some of that content. So then that adds even more value to you. So there's nothing particularly concerning about that domain to me, other than the fact that it never really had a huge amount of search volume organically. But it, you know, it has a bit. It had a bit. Whether you chose to use that or not, it's what I would say is it's going to give you an advantage over just registering a fresh domain if you were doing something to do with adoption. But let's go back and take a look at another way of finding them. So we don't necessarily have to go through the route of going via category. We can actually just search for keywords. Let's say it's in the home improvement niche. So let's have a look at something like DIY. So I've searched that, and it's going to bring them up down below. We can see there are 3 domains with DIY in the domain name, and they all look fine from a Spamzilla point of view. We can see that there's no current traffic on any of them, but this one's got a DR8, home and homemaking, so that's a pretty decent topical trust flow for us there. The DIYden.net, I would be put off that just because it's in the sports category. So that's probably not that relevant. And if we click through to the auction, have a look at the price. Currently $12, and there is a bidder on that, and they've put the estimated value in there at 1,183. So we can look at that. Now let's throw that into Ahrefs and take a look. And while that's doing that, let's also throw it into Wayback Machine. So it's still ranking for some keywords here. Bamboo DIY projects, easy DIY. So they've got this DIY bamboo projects page that clearly had a bit of traction. So that might be a page that you would actually resurrect if you were to bring that website back. Let's have a look at their backlinks. They've probably got some going to that page. Okay, so the family homestead. Now, if you've got a lot more links like this, what I tend to do is remove subdomains, because you tend to get a lot of Blogspot links that aren't that relevant. And I'll also look for just the do follow ones. So we've got that family homestead. Let's sort by domain traffic. Okay, DI, that's an image link. We're not too worried about it. Garden Holic, that's pretty decent. Talk Decor, I like that. Garden 2021. and then the links. So you've probably got 1, 2, 3, you've probably got 3 decent links there, so nothing major. But if you were to go out and pay for those links, you're probably going to be paying $100 per link. And so you can already look at that and say, okay, I've got $300 of value. However, we want to just check the history of it, so let's go in and, right, so this, I'm guessing this was either used as an affiliate website or it was used as maybe as a PBN. Let's see whether it's linking out to lots of random places on these posts. I don't think it will be actually. I think this looks like more of a content website. But you see, there's content on these pages. Yeah, I don't think it was used as a PBN. I think it's just like a content-based website. But it's quite a nice domain name as well. So it's corediy.com. It's very brandable. That works pretty well for our uses. Now, obviously, that process does require tools, paid tools, and a fair bit of time as well. So if you want to bypass that, you can go to domain brokers, such as ODYS is the big one that everyone's promoting at the moment. There is another one that I've used before, serpnames.com. The guy who runs that is a really good guy and he picks up some good domains. They're a little bit cheaper probably than ODYS, although they do have some more expensive ones too. But if you want to do this yourself, you really need to get an idea of how valuable a domain is before you go in and buy it. So if we do go to ODYS, we can see here, they're saying this domain, yogagroup.org, is actually worth $11,240. And they're selling it for $5,640. Now let's go have a look. Run this through the same process that we've just done. DR32, okay, so it did have traffic, not a huge amount, but a bit. Yeah, it's got some pretty good links there. And then we'd also run it through Wayback Machine. But what I want to show you here is how we can kind of estimate the value of a website. And what I would tend to do is look at the GoDaddy value. So this is not a be all and end all, but this gives you an idea of the value of the actual domain name. So I would take that and probably halve it. So let's say 400 quid. 400 quid for oxfordadoption.com. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the backlinks that they've got. Just interesting, the do follows and go by domain traffic. And what have we got? We'll take that one, so that's a DR73. What I'd do here is I'd just break it down. I would look and say, look, if I've got a website that's kind of in the DR20 to 30 range, that's probably worth about £75 as a backlink if I was to go out and find that. If it's a DR 30 to 50, I would put a value of about £100 on that. And if it's a DR of 50 plus, then it's probably a value of around £150. Don't forget, you're not having to go out and write content for them. You're not having to pay someone for that backlink. You've got it right from the off. So if we apply that here, we can say, right, this one's worth 150. This one's worth 100, another 100, another 100, another 150. And you can see it quickly tots up. So we've got 15 links there. Let's just say each one's worth £100. That's £1,500 worth of backlinks right from the off. Add that to our 400 quid. So we're getting close to £2,000 in value before anything else. Plus the fact that you're potentially going to save 6 to 12 months on not getting sandboxed. And if you don't know what sandboxed it means, it just basically means that Google kind of holds back a brand new website. So if you register a website from scratch, it can hold it back in the search results. So you're bypassing that. And if there's content as well, then you might also grab some of that content from the Wayback Machine and include that. But let's say at bare minimum, I would say that domain is worth about £2,000, $2,500. It will not go for that at GoDaddy auction, I don't think anyway. So that's where finding them yourself it's gonna widen the pool. You're gonna have more to choose from because you're picking them up before the brokers do, but you're also gonna save the fee that the brokers are then gonna put on top because the broker's probably gonna sell that for double that. Links to everything that's been discussed in this video are in the description below. If you found value in this video, please, please, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you did find this video useful, then you're probably going to find this one just as useful. That's going to talk you through the whole content planning process and how to put your content together for your new affiliate website. Thanks for watching, guys, and good luck with your project.